back to the Art of Letting Go Zoom room for another live session. Good chat and expression session. So we're going to just dive in today straight into the text, I think. We haven't done the text for a while. So let's look at today's text reading, which is all about the Christ. It is called The Christ in You. And section 5 of chapter 24, if you want to follow along in your book. Just need to get rid of these notifications, really. So let's see if I can do that. I'm entirely sure how I disable those notifications. Only in notifications, that would be a good idea. So let me just do that quickly, and then we'll start. Okay, so let me share my screen with you, right? Okay, can you see that?
Let's have a look. Yes.
Yeah, so as I said, this one's called The Christ in You, or translated into our alternative language, the true self in me. We personalize it. So yeah, I've got time, so let's read the original and the alternative, sentence by sentence. Shall I read the original, or do you want to read the original?
Yes,
Whichever way you want.
Yeah, I'll do the original, either or, yes, yeah. So, the Christ in you is very still.
The true self in me is very still.
He looks on what he loves and knows it as himself.
It perceives what it loves and knows it as itself.
And thus does he rejoice at what he sees, because he knows that it is one with him and with his Father.
And so does it rejoice at what it perceives, because it knows that it is one with itself and its source.
Specialness, too, takes joy in what it sees, although it is not true.
Specialness, too, takes joy in what it sees, although it is not true.
Yet what you seek for is a source of joy as you conceive it.
Yet what I seek for is a source of joy as I conceive it.
What you wish is true for you.
What I wish is true for me.
Nor is it possible that you can wish for something and lack faith that it is so.
Or is it possible that I can wish for something and lack faith that it is so?
Wishing makes real as surely as does will create.
Wishing makes real as surely as awareness extends.
The power of a wish upholds illusions as strongly as does love extend itself.
power of a wish upholds illusions as strongly as love extends itself.
Except that one deludes, the other heals.
Except that one deludes and the other heals. Okay, so do you want to read it in the alternative from the top?
The true self in me is very still. It perceives what it loves and knows it knows it as itself. And so does it rejoice at what it perceives, because it knows that it is one with itself and the source. Specialness also takes joy in what it perceives, although it is not true. Yet what I seek for is a source of joy as I conceive it. What I wish is true for me, nor is it possible that I can wish for something and lack faith that it is so. Wishing makes real as surely as awareness extends. The power of a wish upholds illusions as strongly as love extends itself, except that one deludes people and the other heals. So it's just talking about our true self, and where we find it is when we're very still and it so rejoices at what it perceives because it knows that it is one. It just knows it's one with itself and its source, where specialness takes another joy, which is not true. So
Yeah, so we conceive of the things of the ego as joyful, but they're not really. They might give us some temporary pleasure, maybe temporary satisfaction. You know, so someone goes, they have an experience. Oh, that was amazing, and then of course the experience is over. But was it joy or was it just excitement based on the external stimulation?
Yeah.
So, you know, we seek for these stimulating experiences and we confuse them with joy.
Yeah.
I listened to quite a profound talk once by George Lucas. He's the creator of the Star Wars movies. And the talk was on joy versus pleasure. Star Wars movies are based on Buddhist principles, and said, you know, the problem with our modern society is everyone mistakes joy for pleasure. And I think that pleasure is joy.
Yeah.
But it's not. You know, the joy is much deeper. Joy is permanent. Joy lasts. Joy might not be as intense as a sudden rush of pleasure, but it's much more lasting. It's much more permanent. It's much more sustainable. You know, it's that subtle feeling of, yeah, everything's okay. You could call it peace, but you know, peace comes alive sometimes, and we can feel that, you know, brimming feeling, that abundance, you know, sometimes, and that's joy. That's when peace just kind of, it's like a fountain, you know, rising from a spring. The peace is just the spring that's just bubbling away all the time. It's always there, and then, you know, suddenly it erupts and comes up in a fountain, and you feel that, and that's joy. But it can't be related to something external. It's, you know, it's actually internal. Something might trigger it externally, but it's coming from a deeper place within you. It's not related to temporary pleasure. But we get confused, you know, and life is, given the modern world we've created. In fact, it's designed to confuse you. You know, you see all these companies and they are marketing joy. They're saying, oh, this is going to be happy, going to be joyful, but actually it's false. It's a fake kind of joy. It's actually just pleasure. It's short-term satisfaction, because that kind of joy you can't buy. That kind of joy comes from deep within you. It's priceless. Yeah. So what else? I mean, saying a couple of interesting things there, like joy, and then talks about the power of a wish upholds illusions as strongly as love extends itself, except that one deludes and the other heals. So these false idols or wishes of the ego are really what support its illusions. If you just continue to want something, to desire something, then that means that it's kept alive, isn't it? That seems to have a reality as long as you want it. So it upholds the illusion that this is something that you want, that is desirable, and most importantly for the ego, of your self-concept that desires it. Who thinks that you need this, whatever it is, thing, achievement, person, event, substance? Who thinks that you need that? Or only a self-concept that is actually quite limited and weak and fragile thinks that it needs something outside of itself to bolster itself. If you really knew who you were, then you would say, I don't need any of this stuff. Because I am that I am. Right? My true self is still there. It's still the same as it always was. Nothing's really ever changed. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments or questions on that? Happy to move on. Okay, so let's switch it. I'll read the original this time. You read the alternative, sentence by sentence. So there is no dream of specialness, however hidden or disguised the form, however lovely it may seem to be, however much it delicately offers the hope of peace and the escape from pain, in which you suffer not your condemnation.
There is no dream of specialness, however hidden or disguised the form, however lovely it may seem to be, however much it delicately offers the hope of peace and the escape from pain, in which I will not suffer my condemnation.
In dreams, effect and cause are interchanged. For here the maker of the dream believes that what he made is happening to him.
In dreams, effect and cause are swapped around, for in dreams, the maker of the dream believes that what they made is happening to them.
He does not realize he picked a thread from here, a scrap from there, and wove a picture out of nothing.
But I do not realize that I picked a thread from here, a scrap from there, and wove a picture out of nothing.
For the parts do not belong together, and the whole contributes nothing to the parts to give them meaning.
For the parts do not belong together, and the whole contributes nothing to the parts to give them meaning.
And then from the top,
Yeah, there is no dream of specialness, however hidden or disguised the form, however lovely it may seem to be, however much it delicately offers the hope of peace and the escape from pain, in which I will not suffer my condemnation. In dreams, effect and cause are swapped around, for in dreams, the maker of the dream believes that what they made is happening to them. But I do not realize that I picked a thread from here, a scrap from there, and wore a picture out of nothing. For the parts do not belong together, and the whole contributes nothing to the parts to give them meaning. So it's just talking about the specialness of the dream and how we pick threads out and scraps and make a picture out of nothing. However much it is delicately offers that it sort of gives some false hopes of peace and escape from pain, and which we'll not suffer. But this is just dreams, and they're saying that the effect and cause are actually swapped in the dreams, and the maker of the dream believes that what they made is happening to them. So it's just a dream, and we're making
It's
it.
very cunning of the ego. I mean, you think it's happening to you, but actually you've created it.
Yeah.
Very, very cunning, because you're going to get confused. You're going to think the world is out there, that it's happening to you, that it's independent of you, that, you know, these seeming external circumstances and people and events are not of your making, because they appear to be outside of you, and they appear to have and be independent of you. But that's the illusion. That's, I mean, a very clever illusion. If you were going to make up a dream in which it was going to perpetuate the fall, I'll say differently. If you wanted to convince yourself forever that you really were a separate self, you would make up a dream like this, wouldn't you? That's exactly what you would do if that's what you wanted to believe. Now I'm a separate individual, apparently in a body, and there's all these other bodies and things happening outside of me that I have no control of, which just confirms that I am separate from them, right? Because I've got no control of them.
Mm.
You'd make up a world exactly like this to give yourself that illusion, that dream that you wanted to have. As he says, you know, wishing makes real, as surely as awareness extends. So if you wish for a dream of separation, you know, the power of your wishing brings it into seeming reality, which is exactly how the illusion was created. A false wish, a false desire to be a separate self, then invents a world like this, where cause and effect are swapped around, and apparently you're at the effect of what you actually caused, which is ludicrous when you really look at it. So you're like, but hang on, if you're confused about cause and effect, you're confused about everything. How can you make any proper decisions? Because you don't understand the causation of things. And that's the situation of the ego and the world. We try and make sense of it by assigning causation to what actually has no cause. Oh, well, you know, I'm this way because of this and this and this happening in the world. No, that's nonsense. You decided to be a separate self, and then you invented a world that would confirm that to you. So the problem was in your own decision, and the decision in your mind is the problem, and so that can be reversed. It's not the outside conditions of the problem, it's the decision in your mind. And this is really all the Course is saying. Change your mind about who you think you are, which is what letting go of forgiveness does. And then, you know, he just talks about effect and cause being inverted. And we've kind of woven this picture together, you know, picked a thread from here, scrap from there, and wove a picture out of nothing. You know, quite descriptive language. You know, we've created this picture of the world and a picture of self-concept based on these threads. You know, whatever conditioning, programming we've had in our lives, particularly in our childhood. It's a thread from here, a scrap from there. You have one, let's say, negative traumatic experience, and that now becomes part of your self-concept. And then you've woven a picture of a self and the life of that self based on what is really nothing. Well, the parts do not belong together, and the whole contributes nothing to the parts to give them meaning. All very, very profound stuff.
It is.
Just teaching us, you know, the nature of the true nature of the world. You know, we have to see that and be very honest about it in order to escape it. You know, if you think the world is here for any other purpose than forgiveness, then you can't learn this course. You're going to put all kinds of meanings and purposes into the world, which are going to disappoint you. Those are going to hurt you. But if you don't see that and you just go, oh, well, I'll just blame some external circumstance, and you don't see that it's actually a faulty thought system, that's the problem, and you never change. Remember the best thing I had when I failed miserably at becoming a champion squash player, just to realize that actually maybe it's not me who's failed. Maybe my thought system has failed me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I've got something wrong there, and just that thought was hugely liberating. So okay, so instead of blaming myself and beating myself up and thinking that this is just a terrible failure, I asked the right question. Well, maybe somehow I've just got it wrong. I haven't understood correctly what life is really about. Maybe this model of the world I had at that point was based very much on personal growth. What you can conceive and believe you can achieve. To paraphrase a guy called Napoleon Hill, wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. That's what I thought, and I was like, well, hang on, I really tried that formula. I worked really hard on achieving my goal, and I really didn't get very far. It just didn't happen. It wasn't even close. So is that just because I failed, or because the thought system has failed me? And that was the start of my spiritual awakening, asking that question, because actually the thought system had failed me. It wasn't entirely correct. It didn't go deep enough. It didn't have the non-dual truth that underneath all the duality, we are actually all the same, all perfect, whole, and complete. It was missing that. Okay, so let's move on, shall we, to number 3.
Mm-hmm. Shall I do the original? Yeah.
Yeah, you do the original. With pleasure.
Where could your peace arise but from forgiveness?
Where could my peace arise except from letting go?
The Christ in you looks only on the truth and sees no condemnation that could need forgiveness.
My true self perceives only the truth and sees no condemnation that could need letting go.
He is at peace because he sees no sin.
It is at peace because it perceives no sin.
Identity with him and what has he had that you have not.
If I identify with it, what has it that I have not?
He is your eyes, your ears, your hands, your feet.
Just change that to, instead of have not, that I do not have. It is my eyes, my ears, my hands, and my feet.
Yeah. How gentle are the sights he sees, the sounds he hears.
How gentle are the sights it sees and the sounds it hears.
How beautiful his hands that holds his brothers, and how lovingly he walks beside him, showing him that he can be seen and heard, and where he will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear.
How beautiful its hand that holds its companions, and how lovingly it walks beside them, showing them what can be seen and heard, and where they will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear.
Right, shall I read that? Where could my peace arise except from letting go? My true self perceives only the truth and perceives no condemnation that could need letting go. It is at peace because it perceives no sin. If I identify with it, what has it that I do not have? It is my ears, my eyes, my hands, and my feet. How gentle are the sights it sees and the sounds it hears. How beautiful its hand that holds its companions, and how lovingly it walks beside them, showing them what can be seen and heard, and where they will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear. It's obviously saying about our peace when we let go, then our peace will arise. And if we identify with it, then it's our eyes and ears and hands and feet, and its sight it sees, the sounds it hears. This is a beautiful thing because we can hold out to our companions lovingly and walk beside them. And then it's this bit showing them what can be seen and heard, and that they will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear. That last one there, I didn't quite get that. And they will see nothing, and there is no sound to hear.
Change that to they will see and hear nothing. Might be simpler. And maybe we say, where they will see and hear nothing in truth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds a bit better. It was a bit ambiguous.
Yeah, they'll see and hear nothing that is real.
Yeah.
Might be, yeah, that's what he means. So we realize that nothing that we see in this world is true or real. And Christ understands that. Our true self knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Showing them what can be seen and heard, and where they will see and hear nothing that is real. So in this world, you'll see and hear nothing that is real in the external world. But what can be seen and heard is the voice for God, for truth within you.
Yeah.
And there's a distinction between them. It's the inner world versus the outer world. We have a look here. Let's have a look at integral model. Shows this model quite well. So there you see the internal and the external on the left and the right, individual on the top, collective on the bottom. So the individual interior is where the Course is pointing us. So don't get caught up in the external world, the world of the body senses, what you can see and feel and touch and taste and perceive in time and space, because that isn't true, right? This is an illusion. This is a dream. You're caught up in a dream world, thinking that all these things are real, but they're not. Actually, all that you can really see and hear is this inner voice, which we call the Holy Spirit, and the Christ, or the true self, that is connected to the source of your own deepest awareness. So if you break it down into the 4-quadrant diagram, you see what he's talking about. Makes the text much more understandable. Okay, so he's talking about the dichotomy between this quadrant and this quadrant, highlighting the difference and saying, well, you need to be cognizant of that. And the Christ realizes that actually ultimately only the upper left quadrant is real, because there's only one self. There's actually only one of us, one awareness here. So the idea of plural selves collapses. The highest level, there are no separate selves. There are no we's. There's only one I, the great I am that we all share. So truth resides in upper left quadrant, and all the other quadrants are illusory ultimately and collapse back into this, into the one. Now, some people might say, well, we must be real because there's, even on a mind level, there's other minds. But are there really other minds? Was that just part of the illusion? There are no other minds. That's what we're told. There's only really one mind masquerading as many minds. So when that one mind learns that it's really only one, there's only one I am presence, then it collapses into one and there's only the I. Subjective, perfect experience of this one mind. Okay. So any other thoughts or comments on that one, Elaine?
No, it's clear, but it's having that experience yourself. Because obviously we all feel as though this is real, and it's rewiring the brain to realize it isn't real. It's a dream like you have at night. That's the big one.
Yeah. And it's constant reminder, just, okay, I'm just dreaming here. This is all just a dream. None of it's really real. None of the characters matter. None of the situations really matter because it's just a dream. And that gives you a huge sense of peace. Doesn't mean the dream's going to disappear straight away. It just means you can perceive it peacefully because you realize none of it really matters. We've all had dreams at night where you go, oh, that was, wake up and you're like, oh, that was a nightmare. It was terrible. But, thank goodness it's over. I woke up and realized it was just a dream. So I don't have to carry on with that. It's over. It's gone. This world just is a more persistent version of the dream. As Einstein said, this world is just an optical delusion of consciousness, albeit a rather persistent one. Those were his words. Understatement of the century, a rather persistent one. Yeah, incredibly persistent. Incredibly persistent delusion. It's been going on for billions of years, and there's no sign of it stopping anytime soon on a collective level until you decide to stop it. This is where spiritual awakening comes. It's your decision. Do you want to carry on believing in the dream, or do you make another choice to leave the dream? That's the only choice you really have. Okay. So highlighting difference between truth and illusion, and just saying really that peace comes from letting go of illusions. Very simple idea. You let go of your dreams, everything that's false. What remains must make you peaceful. And if you're not peaceful, then it means you haven't let go of your illusions. It's very simple. Your peace is the barometer test. I'm not peaceful. Well, then clearly you've got some more letting go to do. The ego says, no, I need the world to change. Holy Spirit says that's deluded. The world is always going to disturb your peace if you allow it to, because it's your own projection. So the real disturbance of your peace is in your own mind. So the only place you can ever change it is in your own mind. It's a decision that you make. Okay. So let's happy to go on to number 4.
Yeah.
Yet, I'll read the original this time. Yet let your specialness direct his way, and you will follow.
Yet let my specialness direct their way, and I will follow.
And both will walk in danger, each intent in the dark forest of the sightless, unlit by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin and then go out, to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl him over it.
And both will walk in danger, each intent in the dark forest of the sightless, until only by the shifting tiny gleams. This is just a bit difficult to see then. Gleams that spark. Maybe make it a little bigger there. That's okay.
Huh? Let's make it 130. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward sentence, really, because it's very long. It says both will walk in danger. Each intent, comma, and then there's something in the dark forest of the sightless, comma. Now he's describing the dark forest, unlit only by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin and then go out. Right, so there's a big kind of parenthesis. And then he picks up where he left off, each intent to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl him over it. So maybe we can do something with the sentence structure to make it a bit. Each intent in the dark forest of the sightless, unlit only by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin and then go out. So I mean, it's quite good imagery. Just makes the sentence quite long and a bit clunky. I think in the dark forest, in the dark dream, in the dark confusing dream. So let's again translate. I mean, lovely imagery, but what is he saying? The dark forest of the sightless is the dark confusing dream of the spiritually blind. We've all been there. You're in a dark place and you just get confused and you can't see the wood for the trees. Again, forest analogy. Just like, oh my God, just get me out of here. I can't deal with this. That's the dark, confusing dream of the spiritually blind. When you don't really understand what's going on, it can be very dark and confusing. And then people turn to some kind of relief, whatever that may be. They self-medicate in some way. To try and ease their pain, and that might be alcohol, drugs, sex, shopping, TV, internet, gaming, whatever, to try and deal with that. Well, then, if you look into the dark, confusing dream and you see it for what it is, therein lies your awakening. Then you're starting to wake up to the truth. Okay, this is a dark, confusing dream. There isn't really any hope here. But let me see it as it is, because that's the only way I'm ever going to be free of it. So I understand that it's never going to work, and trust that there's another way. Okay. So what was that? Dark, confusing dream, spiritually blind, unlit only by the shifting tiny gleams. Unlit. Is that right? Let's have a look. Unlit but by, So it's actually lit only. Lit only by the shifting tiny gleams. From the fireflies of sin. Very beautiful imagery in many ways, which is why I've kept it. And then go out. So you get this kind of spark in the dream, but it's actually dark. It's not helping you. It's like just showing you these fireflies of something that's actually very dark and threatening, apparently, because that's what sin is. Okay, so to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl him over it. Yeah. So it's not referring to in some cultures, this was what happened. People would be taken to a precipice and hurled over if they were being punished. That's how they executed people. So he's using that and saying, well, this is kind of what happens, and then go out to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl them over, because on some level you want the other person to die.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go on then. Number
3.
3. For what specialness delight in but to kill?
Yeah, you need to. For what can specialness delight? You need to lift it up. Delight in but to kill.
Except to kill. What does it seek for but the sight of death?
And what does it seek for? Seek for except the sight of death?
Where does it lead but to destruction?
Where does it lead but destruction?
Yet think not that it looked upon your brother first, nor hated him before it hated you.
Yet I will not think that it perceived my companion first, nor hated them before it hated me.
The sin its eyes behold in him and love to look upon, it saw in you, and looks on still with joy.
The sin its eyes behold in them and love to look upon it perceived in me, and still with seeming joy.
Let's check that. The sin's eyes behold in them. Sin its perception. Perceives in them. Loves to look upon. Loves to look at. Perceived in me and still with seeming joy. It saw in you and looks on still with joy. Sin its perception perceives in them and loves to look at. Perceived in me. Perceives in me, shall we say? Perceives in me. Still with seeming joy. Okay, we're happy with that? Just read that one again.
Yet I will not think that it perceived my companion first, nor hated them before it hated me. Oh, you mean number 7?
Yeah, number 7, yeah.
Okay. The sin its perception perceives in them and loves to look at it perceives in me still with seeming joy. It's a bit of a...
Say, perceives the sin. Let's make that sees. There's too many perceives going. Perceives the sin, its perception sees in them, and loves to look at in me. still perceives the sin its perception sees in them and loves to look at in me with seeming joy. I think that's okay. Yeah. Just read that again from a flow a bit more.
Yeah. It still perceives the sin its perception sees in them and loves to look at me with seeming joy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yet is it joy to look upon decay and madness and believe this crumbling thing with flesh already loosened from the bone and sightless holes for eyes is like yourself.
Yet is it joy to look upon decay and madness and believe this crumbling thing with flesh already loosened from the bone and sightless holes for eyes is like myself. And from the top, yet let my specialness direct their way, and I will follow, and both will walk in danger, each intent in the dark, confusing dream of the spiritually blind, lit only by the shifting, tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin, and then go out to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl them over it. For what can specialness delight in except to kill? What does it look for except the sight of death? Where does it lead to but destruction? Yet I will not think that it perceived my companion first, nor hated them before it hated me. It still perceives the sin its perception sees in them, and loves to look at in me with a seeming joy. Yet is it joy to look upon decay and madness, and believe this crumbling thing with flesh already loosened from the bone, and sightless holes for eyes, is like myself. So just really giving it, very blunt about this flesh suit that we're in and how we can actually put so much faith in it. And specialness is one way to get confused and be confused with the dream for the spiritually blind, um, and laced with sin, and often leading us to the nameless precipice and hurling us over. So it's really not a nice place to be.
But it's very graphic. I mean, he uses this language. People say, well, it's a bit hectic.
It is.
He uses this language quite a lot. Not very nice, because he has to show us that the ego isn't very nice.
Mm.
If the ego is sort of made into some kind of, rosy kind of, oh, well, it's just a little bit naughty, but it's kind of okay. You need your ego and you can accept it.
Mm.
And obviously, it's still in business, very much in business. It's going to carry on running your mind and running your life. And he has to be very clear and say, no, it's really pretty awful. It's horrible, it's ugly, and he uses graphic language to illustrate the ugliness of this. Okay, so you really want to hurl this person off a nameless precipice. And if anyone's really honest in a special relationship, you will have had thoughts of murder at some point. Let's be totally honest about it. You've gone, I just can't stand this person anymore. I just like to kill them. I could
Yeah.
murder you. And that's even a saying. People say I could just kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't do it mostly because
Oh no.
we know there's a part
Well,
of us
some
that
do.
knows
Yes.
there's serious consequences if you do that. Some people do, and then they go to prison
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of their life, and we go, you're a criminal. They just acted on an impulse we've all had to murder someone, and just kind of, I'm just so angry. I just want to take it out and kill,
Lash out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
which is amazing. That's just okay. So how is that actually going to help anything? You think by killing this person, it's going to actually help the situation. It's going to help you. Clearly, that's insane. It's just going to cause a whole lot more problems and drama and pain and suffering for everyone. So, the ego strategy is clearly not going to work, except that in the moment, it tells you that it is going to work. And this is, it's that resistance to the impulse that we have to learn. That's part of spiritual awakening. You're going to get crazy impulses coming, but you got to learn to let them go. I remember when I was awakening, I had this crazy thought of murdering my family. I'm being totally honest here, because I was in so much stress, and then the thought took me, and I was running away from the police, and then fortunately the Holy Spirit came in and said, "Just stop. This is madness. What are you doing? Just don't even go there. Don't even, you're not going to do that. So you don't need to run away if you haven't done anything. It's crazy. It's madness." As
it's just
as
in action, and it's in its glory.
complete insanity, and it's just, and that was a really good lesson. I was like, oh my God, I just see how insane it is. And in that moment, if I'd listened to that thought, then my whole life would have been dramatically changed, like radically. Everything would have just, gone to pieces, really, if I'd acted on that thought. So, great. Okay, fortunately, these thoughts are just thoughts. They're not real. They're not true, and you don't have to listen to them. Hi, John.
Oh,
Hi, John. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, John.
Welcome.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, we're doing some text. So,
okay.
This one is section 5 of chapter 24, which is called "The Christ in You," translated "The True Self in Me." So we've done the first 4 paragraphs. Elaine, maybe just in a minute or two, can you summarize for John what we've talked about so far?
Well, it's just getting to, at how we're all wrapped up in this dream, but at how pretty grim and horrible it is. And if we believe in it, then this is where all this suffering. And so it's going into fairly graphic details, this particular chapter, of how, unfortunate this thought system is. But there is obviously, thankfully, this is not, it is just a dream. And this is what we're unraveling. But it's, obviously going into a lot more.
Way out of it. Particularly graphic language.
Yeah.
Both will walk in danger, each intense in the dark forests of the sightless, unlit by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin and then go out, to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl him over it. Pretty, this is kind of, if you visualize that in a movie scene, it'd be pretty grim, right? Leading each other through this dark forest, and both have an intent to murder. He's painting these graphic pictures for us because he's got to teach us that the ego is really pretty ugly. It's dark, it's ugly, it's not something that you want to protect. You really want to just expose it, see the insanity of it, and let it go, which is what this course is dedicated to helping you do. All right then. So let's carry on. Number 5. Oh, where's John gone? Hopefully he'll come back.
So shall I start with the original, and then John can take over the alternative?
Yeah, if he comes back, hopefully he will. I don't know what's happened, but it's a very short visit. If there was maybe his internet's giving problems. Yeah, so you read the original. I'll read the alternative. It doesn't come back in time.
Rejoice, you have no eyes with which to see, no ears to listen, and no hands to hold, nor feet to guide.
I should rejoice. Let's put a that in there. That I have no eyes with which to see, no ears to listen, and no hands to hold, nor feet to guide me.
Be glad that the only Christ can lend you his while you have a need of them.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll discuss this later. Let's just read it. I'm glad that only my true self can lend me its while I need them.
They are illusions too, as much as yours.
They are as much illusions as mine. Okay, so very clearly saying these are all illusions, and yet, and four.
And yet, because they serve a different purpose, the strength their purpose hold is given them.
And yet, because they serve a different purpose, the strength their purpose holds is given to them.
And what they see and hear and hold and lead is given light, that you may lead as you were led.
And what they see, hear, and hold and lead. There's too many ands there. See, hear, hold, and lead is given to pure formless awareness. Is brought into my awareness so that I may lead as I was led. Into, I think that might actually be useful to say the light. Into the light of my true awareness, so that I may lead as I to heaven. Okay, there's John back. Okay. So let's ask him to read the alternative. Hi, John.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
No. Yeah, maybe your internet was problematic. So I've read we've read the paragraph 5. Maybe just read the alternative version from the top to catch up
Yeah.
with it.
I should rejoice that I have no eyes with which to see, no ears to listen, and no hands to hold, no feet to guide me. I am glad that only my true self can lend me its. I am glad that only my true self can lend me its while I need them. They are they are as much illusions as mine, and yet because they serve a different purpose, the strength their purpose holds is given to them. And what they see, hear, hold, and lead is brought into the light of my true awareness so that I may lead as I have been led.
Yeah. So I just changed that. True self can lend me its, and then added interpretation of my senses while I need them.
Yeah.
Or while I need it. So maybe read that number 2 again.
I am glad that only my true self can lend me its interpretation of my senses while I need it.
Yeah. So it's not that it's giving you eyes, it's just how you interpret your sense perceptions.
Yeah.
Interpretation of my sense perceptions. while I need it, while I need the interpretation, which is really all that's happening here, right? The true self is reinterpreting the dream for us. So look, this diagram, we've looked at it many times before, but always useful. So we're down here in the world of duality. All these experiences seem to happen in time and space, and now the course is proposing that we find a true self that can interpret correctly what all these experiences really mean. That's true perception. That's Christ's vision. So the true self is necessary for true perception to happen. And then this construct of the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, or true self, and Holy Spirit being the ability to reinterpret, suddenly starts making sense, right? It's a psychological system he's giving us with these names, because we have to kind of talk about it. But I think it's more helpful to say, okay, this is your true self that is now helping you to perceive these illusions, what is false, correctly. True self has true perceptions. If you use the Christian language of Christ and Christ's vision and so on, so many people just get lost in that. They just have no idea what you're really talking about. These terms, I would say, for the majority of people, aren't helpful, which is why we just break them down and say, okay, we'll call it something else. And then actually what we're talking about is psychology, as we discussed earlier, John. This is really a masterclass in psychotherapy that he's teaching us, all these principles, how to analyze our mind, how to reinterpret everything from a different perspective, which he calls the Christ, or the true self, that is connected to our source, that knows that it is really one, that it's one awareness, but can still interpret from that perspective of one awareness, can interpret the dream. So kind of essential to have that. Otherwise, how would you do it? How would you change your mind and cross this great divide between illusion and truth if you didn't have a true self and the ability to perceive correctly? Well, you just wouldn't. You'd never get there. So yeah, very, very sensible, very practical. Once you understand what he's talking about in the course, you go, well, there really isn't going to be another way. You can't just go from here to here. You might have a moment of revelation, that's possible, but then you come back into perception, and you're dealing with all the issues of perception and time and space, and so on. So this is where the mind training comes in, to teach you how your true self can perceive correctly, and that facilitates your awakening ultimately into God, back into this pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Good. John, happy? Should we move on?
Yeah, good for me.
Move on to number 6 then. So John, if you can read the original, just sentence by sentence, pause after each sentence, and then I'll read the alternative for us.
The Christ in you is very still. He
My
knows
true-
where.
Oh,
Just one at a time, John.
Yeah.
One
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Sorry. So, yeah.
my true self is very still.
He knows where you are going, and he leads you there in gentleness and blessing all the way.
It knows where I'm going and leads me all the way there in gentleness and blessing.
His love for God replaces all the fear you thought you saw within yourself.
Its pure formless awareness of perfect love replaces all the fear I thought I saw within myself.
His holiness shows you himself in him whose hand you hold and whom you lead to him.
Its innocence show me itself in those whose hand I hold and whom I lead to it.
And what you see is like yourself.
And what I perceive is like myself.
For what but Christ is there to see and hear and love and follow home?
For what except my true self is there to see, hear, love, and follow home?
He looked upon you first, but recognized that you were not complete.
It perceived me first, but recognized that I was not complete.
And so he sought for your completion in each living thing that he beholds and loves.
And so it wanted my completion in each sentient being that it perceives and loves.
And seeks it still that each might offer you the love of God.
And it still wants it so that each might offer me the pure formless awareness of perfect love. And from the top, my true self, my true self is very still. It knows where I'm going and gently leads me all the way there in blessing. Its pure formless awareness of perfect love replaces all the fear I thought I saw within myself. Its innocence shows me itself in those whose hand I hold and whom I lead to it. And what I perceive is like myself. For what except my true self is there to see, hear, love, and follow home? It perceived me first, but I recognize that I was not complete, and so I wanted my completion in each sentient being that it perceives and loves, and it still wants it so that each may offer me the pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it's just back to the true self, and it's leading us there gently, just, obviously letting go of what's replacing all our fears and showing us, giving a gentle hand to others and, leading them to this pure formless awareness, to all sentient beings. And it's all going towards love and just
idea of a unity sort of awareness, united perception. This is common to all spiritual paths. What happens when you move closer to God is you see God in everything. God is everywhere. But in every person, in every sentient being, in every plant, in every animal, even in the tiniest insect, you see this presence, this awareness, the love of God. And that can awaken you. As a good example of this, Byron Katie, her experience was she was awakened by a cockroach. Seriously, she's lying on the floor because she doesn't have enough self-esteem just to sleep on the bed at her rehab center. So she's lying on the floor. She wakes up, and this cockroach is crawling over her foot. But instead of being repelled by it, as most people, oh my God, get off, and she just, it takes her into a state of presence and awareness, and she's like, this cockroach is one with me. There's only one life here. There's one awareness. And that was completely transformational. So the cockroach gave her a new life, gave her an experience that was profoundly transformative and completely changed her life. That's what a cockroach can do if you allow it to. Most people don't, but she perceived it correctly. And in that moment, she was obviously ready, and it completely shifted her perception of herself, of the world, and changed her life. She was never the same again after that one experience with the holy encounter, you call it. A holy instant, the Course would say, or holy encounter with a cockroach. And that can awaken you. So, this is what he's saying. Amazing stuff. Okay. So any other thoughts or questions on number 6? Can we go on then to
Yeah.
John? Okay, let's go on.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of you read the original, the other the alternative. Up to you who does it. I think it's Elaine's turn to read the original, is it? Is that right?
Yes. Yet is he quiet, for he knows that love is in you now, and safely held in you by the same hand that holds your brothers in your own.
Yet is it quiet, for it knows that love is in me now, and safely held in me by that same hand that holds my companions in my own.
Christ's hand holds all his brothers in himself.
My true self's hand holds all its companions in itself.
He gives them vision for their sightless eyes and sings to them of heaven, that their ears may hear no more the sound of battle and of death.
It gives them vision for their sightless eyes and sings to them of the state of pure formless awareness, so that their ears may not hear the sound of battle and of death.
He reaches through them, holding out his hand, that everyone may bless all living things and see their holiness.
It reaches through them, holding out its hand so that everyone may bless all living things and perceive their innocence.
And he rejoices that these sights are yours to look upon with him and share his joy.
It reaches through them, holding out its hand so that everyone may bless all living things and and it rejoices that these
Number 5,
sights
yeah.
and it rejoices that these sights are mine to perceive with it and share its joy.
His perfect lack of specialness he offers you, that you may save all living things from death, receiving from each one the gift of life that your forgiveness offers to yourself.
Number 6, John. Okay, John, are you there?
Oh yeah, sorry. I sorry. It offers me its perfect lack of specialness, so that I may serve all sentient beings from death, receiving from each one the gift of life that my letting go offers to myself.
The sight of Christ is all there is to see.
The sight of my true self is all there is to see.
The song of Christ is all there is to hear.
The hand of my true self is all there is to hold. Sorry.
Number 8, John.
The song of my true self is all there is to hear.
The hand of Christ is all there is to hold.
The hand of my true self is all there is to hold.
There is no journey but to walk with him.
There is no journey except to walk with it. So it's saying very beautifully and poetically here that we are accompanied by by Holy Spirit, by we are connected with our true selves, and in perfect harmony, in flow, and with confidence that we are connected with our life source.
Yeah. Again, it's this expansive, enlightened vision of seeing everyone and everything as the same as you, which is a pretty universal experience in all the spiritual teachings and traditions. This is described as being one of the key symptoms of enlightenment, that you see that you are one with everyone and everything. Literally, with the smallest creature like a cockroach or a blade of grass, spanning to the entire universe and the stars and so on. It's like it's all one with me. It's because why? Because it's all in your own mind. It's all a projection of your mind. So it has to be, it's not separate from you. The observer and the observed thing are not separate. Quantum mechanics has shown that repeatedly. You observe something and it changes what you observe. They've shown that in experiments. So clearly they can't be separate. So what you're perceiving then is in your own mind and you're connected to it. This is just starting to peel away the veil of illusion that tells you otherwise. It says, no, this is actually the truth. Everything actually at the most fundamental level is coming from the same source. It's one single awareness really that's here, that's presenting itself as many apparently separate people and things and everything that populates the universe. But there's just one awareness here. And so that's what he's describing here. It's coming into that awareness. This is Christ's vision. This is understanding what Christ is, this true self that then perceives the world, but perceives it from the perspective of the one awareness. So it doesn't see the separation. It just sees the unity that underlies the separation. A very high state of mind, very difficult state of mind to maintain. Because the world is not designed to, facilitate this, really. We have these moments. If you've had a moment like this, you'll know that it was very fleeting. It comes and it goes. And then, then you go back into more ordinary perception and separation comes back and problems come back. And, you can forget this enlightened perception very easily, as, most people have, as the world dictates, the ego dictates that you do forget this. That's the whole point of an external world, is to make you forget that everything is one and to try and convince you that everything is really separate. So of course it's going to be difficult because you're going up against this very strong program of separation. It's trying its best to convince you that you are separate. But your mind and your ability to change your mind is your strongest weapon in that battle. You can always change your mind if you choose to. Whatever you're seeing, you can always change your mind about how you perceive it, which is what he's teaching us here. Okay. So, any other thoughts or comments or questions on that? All good?
Yeah, it's all good.
Number 8 then.
You who would be content with specialness and seek salvation in a war with love, consider this. The Holy Lord of Heaven has himself come down to you to offer you your own completion.
I who would be content with specialness and seek awakening in a war with love, consider this. The innocent Lord of the state of pure formless awareness has itself come down to me to offer me my own completion.
What is his is yours, because in your completion is his own.
What is its is mine, because in my completion is its own.
He who willed not to be without his son could never will that you be brotherless.
It who willed not be without its extension could never will that I be companionless.
And would he give a brother unto you except he be as perfect as yourself, and just like to him in holiness as you must be?
And would it give a companion to me unless they be as perfect as myself, and just as innocent as I must be? And from the top, I who want to be content with specialness and seek awakening in a war with love, should consider this, the innocent Lord of the state of pure formless awareness, has itself come down to me to offer me my own completion. What is it? Its is mine, because in my completion is its own. It who willed not be without its extension could never will that I be without companions on my journey through this world. And would it give a companion to me unless they are as perfect as myself, and just as innocent as I must be? Just, to be content with specialness and seeking awakening in this world of illusion and war, and expect love, should consider this. The state of pure formless awareness has itself come down to us to offer its completion, because it is us. And it's just saying that it's what it has, we have. We are all this, and it's also willingness to our extension, our brothers, on this journey through this world. And would it be a companion to me unless they are as perfect as this true self that we are, and just as innocent? So we have that choice.
Yeah. Mm. John, given what we discussed earlier, very appropriate, right? For me, particularly. It's like, there you go, right? There's the message. There's the lesson. Would you have this person in your life unless they were as perfect as yourself and just as innocent? No, they because they are. You just got to see through the illusion that they're not. And that's forgiveness. That's our task, is to forgive the illusion of who we thought they were, being a separate self and ego with all of its flaws and problems, and see beyond that to the perfection of their true self that is also our own true self. And they are given to us precisely to do that, to help us do that. Would it give me a companion? Let's just change that around. Would it give me a companion unless they are as perfect as myself, as perfect and shorten that a bit, as perfect and innocent as myself must be? Would it give me a companion unless they are as perfect and innocent as myself must be? Very, very, true. Very, very. So remember that, especially if you're having difficulty in a relationship, I just can't stand this person. Just want to get rid of them. Want to go away. It's like, would I have this person if they weren't as perfect and innocent as me, and if my lesson wasn't there to be learned, that that's the truth. They are as perfect and innocent as I am. I just need to recognize that, despite all of the human flaws and foibles and difficulties that the ego creates. They still are that in truth. We just got to remember that, because it's very easy to forget it. Which is why we practice and we read this text, and because it reminds us of the simple truth that's always there, always been there, but we forget in the madness of the ego and its misperceptions. Okay. So and just synchronistically, it just shows you how these confirmations come. We discussed this earlier, John, and then bang.
Yes. Yes.
That's the confirmation. And that happens so often in the course that it's not an accident, is it? You go, okay, I can see that this is speaking to me. I mean, he repeats the truth over and over again, so it's like, well, something's going to land, but often it's just exactly what you needed to hear. That's the uncanny thing with it. It becomes like an oracle. It's when you work with it, it becomes your guide and your teacher. It's how your Holy Spirit works through it to help you, and somehow it'll just guide you to read the right thing, to see the right passage, the right lesson just comes up at the appropriate time to help you, which is pretty miraculous, really. Okay. So last paragraph. Well, doing quite well. So I think, Elaine, you wanted to finish by 9-ish, so we will do that, and then if you want to stay, we'll do something, but up to you. Okay, so let's do number 9 then. So I think it's for you to read the originals, Elaine.
Yeah. There must be doubt before there can be conflict.
There must be doubt before there can be conflict.
And every doubt must be about yourself.
And every doubt must be about myself.
Christ has no doubt, and from his certainty, his quiet comes.
My true self has no doubt, and its quiet comes from its certainty.
He will exchange his certainty for all your doubts, if you agree that he is one with you, and that this oneness is endless, timeless, and within your grasp, because your hands are his.
It will exchange its certainty for all my doubts, if I agree that it is one with me, and that this oneness is endless, timeless, and within my grasp, because my hands are its.
He is within you, yet he walks beside you and before, leading the way that he must go to find himself complete.
It is within me, yet it walks beside me and before me, leading the way that it must go to find itself complete.
His quietness becomes your certainty.
Quietness becomes my certainty.
And where is doubt when certainty has come?
And where is doubt when certainty has come? So, interesting first statement. There must be doubt before there can be conflict.
I think just read it from the top, John.
Oh yeah, sorry. There must be doubt before there can be conflict. And every doubt must be about myself. My true self is no doubt, and its quiet comes from its certainty. It will exchange its certainty for all my doubts, if I agree that it is one with me, and that this oneness is endless, timeless, and within my grasp, because my hands are its. It is within me, yet it walks beside me and before me, leading the way that it must go to find itself complete. Its quietness becomes my certainty. And where is doubt when certainty has come? So he's saying that, yes, there is doubt before, if there's going to be conflict, there has to be doubt. before. But every doubt has got to be about me, myself, not whatever I want to project it onto. And if I realign with my true self, I will find a way forward, because my true self is not just within me, but walks with me and wants to guide me in difficult times, and wants to show me where certainty is, where I thought doubt was.
Yeah. Every doubt is about ourselves. Very profound statement, actually, that. If we truly know who we are, then can't really be in conflict. That doesn't mean someone will always agree with us, but there's no inner conflict. It's like, well, because I know who I am. I don't, as Carl Jung said, I don't believe, I know. I've gone beyond belief and beyond doubt to a knowledge, a knowing of who I really am, which is where Jesus is directing us with his teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So it leads us back to itself. There's this dynamic going on where this true self, this Christ self in us, wants to reveal itself to us, wants to awaken us to itself, and it will guide us on a journey to do that. That's why all things work for good. So in the greatest difficulty you've ever had, the true self is trying to reveal itself. That's why all things work for good. It can be incredibly traumatic for the ego, but actually it's the undoing of the ego and the revealing of this true self that was buried underneath. But you needed the trauma to awaken to that. Otherwise, the ego just carries on and business as usual. Where is doubt when certainty has come? So it's taking us into you can see how the true self leads to knowledge. So if we go back to the diagram, it starts with a change of mind, a change of perception. It starts with faith in something higher, and you're going to doubt and you're going to have vacillations, and that's all part of the journey. But as you get more established in your practice, this true self becomes more and more certain of what it is, and you keep coming back to that until eventually once you know who you are, know thyself, then you're very, very close to this pure formless awareness of perfect love. And the Course just says, well, God will take the final step. You will just merge back into this awareness, and there won't even be a need for a true self that has true perception anymore. In pure formless awareness of perfect love, that's not required, because there's nothing outside of you to perceive. There's only one pure awareness, and you are it, and it is you, and there's no difference or separation anyway. But to get back to that is the journey, and it goes through the true self and the Holy Spirit, which is the ability to perceive from the true self or Christ correctly the world. Okay, so any other thoughts or comments or questions on the Christ in you? Great section, very profound. So we can look at the summary. Elaine, if you want to go, it's 9 o'clock, or you can stay and read the summary. It's up to you. It's 4 paragraphs long. So
yeah, I can just go through that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you want me to read that?
Let's let John read the first couple of paragraphs, because he missed the first half of it.
Yeah.
So John, if you can read that, just stop at the end of paragraph 1 and we'll chat about it.
My true self is serene and rejoices in recognizing its oneness with its source. Unlike the delusion of specialness which seeks joy in illusions. Desiring something affirms my belief in its reality, as wishing and willing are powerful forces that either support illusions or extend love. My peace arises from letting go of condemnation and recognizing that there is no sin. My true self guiding me gently and showing me the beauty of everything.
Okay, so thoughts on that?
Whereas contrasting the state of being in connection with my true self compared to being in the ego, and how we desiring is something is taking us magnetically towards the illusion, whereas peace comes from letting go of condemnation and desire and recognizing that there is no sin, there is no separation.
You can see why the Buddha's insight was so profound when he understood, expressed in the Second Noble Truth, that life is suffering and the cause of that suffering is desire. It's a very, very profound statement. Because I desire something, it makes it real for me. I bring it into reality, and then it doesn't happen as I want it to, and then I suffer because of it. But the genesis of the suffering was in the desire. That's where it started. Going right back to the original thoughts of separation. We desired a separate self. We wanted a special self. So that original desire is the tiny mad idea that kicked it all off. The desire to be something other than what we were was the problem. And then we believed that desire. Problem number two, we chose to believe it. And so we made the desire real. We made the thought real that we desired, which is why it says, whatever you want, whatever you desire, that's what you're going to bring into reality. That's exactly how we created the whole world of illusion. The desire brings it into reality, and then we experience it as real because that's what we desired. So the whole genesis of it all is a false desire, an idle wish, as Jesha called it, to be a separate self. When you drop the desire to be a separate self and you accept who you really are, then the game is over. Which is why all these great teachers was what they realized. Let go of the desire, let go of grievances, because that's just the flip side of desire. Well, I wanted something and now I don't get it, now I have a grievance. Two sides of the same illusory coin. I need to drop it all and realize that I never had a desire. I don't want to be separate self. That was a tiny mad idea that I'm willing to let go of, because its consequences are horrible. It's led to this whole insane world, this one tiny desire to be something other than what I was. And this is the key insight. Even the Buddha, I'm not sure, had that level of insight, but Yeshua did. He understood that it's one tiny mad idea of separation, which is just a desire to be something other than what you are. That's the whole problem. And if you correct that problem, then all other problems dissolve and disappear. But correcting that problem in the midst of all the problems is difficult, and that's why it requires this mind training and forgiveness. Because it's very, very easy just to get consumed by the problems and forget that there's really only one problem, which is the idea of separation that's manifesting in all these other problems. Okay. So pretty profound, if you really dig into this takes you all the way back to the very genesis of the dream, of the illusion, and shows you the way out. Just, stop desiring to be something that you're not. But you've got to do that now in the thick of the projections of the something that you're not, the ego. You got to realize that none of that's true or real, and that you don't want any of it. You're willing to let it all go. Just forgiveness or letting go. Okay. Yeah. So John, if you can read the next one as well.
If I let specialness guide me, it will lead to destruction as it delights in death and decay. I should rejoice that my true self lends me its senses to perceive the world differently and lead as I was led. My true self guides me gently, replacing fear with love and innocence. It seeks completion in everything, offering love to all sentient beings. It knows that love is within me, guiding me to bless all sentient beings and share in its joy.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
Well, he's contrasting the difference between specialness will take us into destruction, whereas if we align with our true selves, we will perceive the world differently and go towards and reunite with peace and a sense of completion.
Yeah. Yeah, so the contrast, he never leaves us with the ego. He talks about the death and the destruction and the decay, and it's all a bit grim. But he never leaves us there. He says, well, this is just the ego's story, and there's another way. You can find love and innocence and peace and joy. It's available to you if you choose it. So, what are you waiting for? Why not choose it now? In fact, it's the only time you ever can choose it. You can't choose it in the past or the future. You can only choose it right now, which is why the now is so scary for the ego. Because if you fully come into the now, then you realize, well, I can actually change my mind right now. And I can just be in this loving awareness right now if I really choose to. And then, the ego is seriously threatened when that happens. So it tries to keep us out of the now, keep us from the realization that we can choose love now through all these illusions. You can't choose love now because there's this going on in your life, and there's this problem, and this person's doing this, and you've got this grievance, and you've got this desire, and you've got this fear. So how can you choose love now with all this going on? That's its story, isn't it? But we have to see through that and see that it's just illusory. It's not true. Okay. Any other thoughts on those first two paragraphs? Hopefully that's kind of caught you up with the first half of it that you missed, John.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Right. Are these summaries helpful?
Yeah, I think they're, yeah.
Just, I find them helpful.
It doesn't replace the text. I mean, the text is beautiful and it has all this lovely language and poetry and so on. So obviously that gets stripped out of the summary, but it does kind of just okay, so what are the key ideas? What are the key themes? Like, like in study, you recap something, you read it, and then you do a review, a recap to really remember it. So that's the idea, that you can just read the summary and sort of entrench the learning. Okay, so what did I really learn from this? Because I think too often people read the text. Oh, that was a nice paragraph. I'm going to go to sleep, and or nice section. I'll go to sleep. And if you ask them the next day, what did you read? They go, well, actually, I can't really remember very much about it. Actually, in truth, it's all kind of gone. It was something about the Christ and Holy Spirit was in there, and finding my true self. I kind of get that, but the details. So anyway, that's why we have the summary. So it's more like studying. All right. So Lane, you can read number 3 for us, kindly.
Yeah. I must let go of specialness to save all living beings and receive the gift of life. The Lord of the state of pure formless awareness has come down to offer me completion. Doubt leads to conflict, but my true self has no doubt. It offers its certainty to exchange for my doubts, leading the way to find itself complete. Its quietness becomes my certainty, and doubt disappears when certainty comes. So it's just letting us know to let go of all this specialness, and then the gift of life will come to us in the state of pure formless awareness, which offers us the completion, because doubt leads to conflict. So, and the true self has no doubts. It offers us only certainty in exchange for these doubts. So, in quietness, this certainty will come and doubt disappears. So, it's up to us. You choose one or the other.
Yeah. Always a choice.
Yeah.
Which is really the key theme of the whole course. You have a choice. It's a choice of selves, it's a choice of thought systems, it's a choice of perceptions. Every situation you have a choice, even if the ego tries to deny that choice. It says, no, you don't. You have to perceive it this way. You don't. No matter how apparently serious it is, you still, can choose to let it go, as Jesus demonstrated on the cross. That was what made the whole crucifixion so powerful. Is he chose to forgive in the most extreme situation when apparently forgiveness is impossible because of the severity of what's happening to you, and yet he demonstrated that it is still possible in such an extreme situation to choose again. Very, very powerful lesson. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Possibly the most powerful sentence and teaching ever given in human history. That one line, because of the context in which it was given. Okay, so happy with that? Let's go on to key message then. Elaine, you can read that just to sum it all up.
Yeah. My true self, which is an extension of perfect loving awareness, guides me away from the illusions of specialness and towards the recognition of my oneness with all sentient beings. It replaces fear and doubt with love, innocence and perfect certainty, leading me towards my ultimate completion and full awakening from the dream of this world. Yeah, nice paragraph. Talk again, just summarizing the fact that our true self and our extensions are this perfect loving awareness, and this is what guides us away from all the dreams and illusions of specialness. And we have the recognition of oneness in all sentient beings, replacing fear and doubt with love, innocence, perfect certainty, leading towards the ultimate completion of awakening from the dream of this world. Yeah.
Yeah. And that summary then really tightly just, okay, this is what this is about. Actually it's a very simple message. It's every section, every lesson is saying really the same thing. It's just saying it in a different way. It's got a different point of focus, different perspective on it, but it's all the same. And people say the course is boring. It's just saying the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, it is, but it's a bit more subtle than that, because it's saying it in clever ways. It's saying it in different ways that are going to hopefully help us to awaken. It's not just the same words repeated over and over. It's like, okay, so different use of language, different focus point, different way of saying it, and then bang, maybe that really makes sense to you and you get it. Or it's like a puzzle. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, of course. Now you need to start putting all the pieces in place in each lesson and each section of the text, and each kind of insight, each key message is a part of the puzzle. And you're saying, well, as you start to put all those pieces in place, it all forms this one whole picture, and you realize that actually these are just aspects of this one complete picture, which it's now revealing to you, you know, as you get more and more into it, you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It becomes clearer and clearer until eventually it leads you to the ultimate completion. Once you get that and you see the vision of Christ, as the Course would say, the vision of your true self, he says, then you're ready for the final step of God, which is full awakening and just merging back into this pure awareness. Let's go back to the diagram just to recap it all. Yeah, the more you go into the true self, the more you know who you are and you perceive correctly, the more you're ready for this final letting go, which, you know, of course, says God takes the final step, and you just merge back into this pure awareness that you always were, you still are, but now temporarily you have to work through the construct of a true self and true perception, the Holy Spirit and Christ, in other words, to learn this and get back to this pure awareness that has always been there and always will be there. That's why it's eternal. Okay, so any other thoughts or comments or questions on this section? Good one, very nice.
Very good, yeah, very clear. Thank
yeah.
you.
Sure, then. So,
yeah, so
are you heading off? We can do
yes.
a quick meditation if you want to end the session, or
no, I'm heading off now. Yeah, but thank you very much. That was good. Yeah, good chapter.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Okay, night. See you next week.
Bye, John.
Night, Elaine. Sleep well.
All right. So, John, do you want to do a meditation on this?
I won't, John, because I'll fall asleep.
Fall asleep. Yeah. Okay. So, shall we can look at the lesson if you want to, but it just depends on how tired you are.
No, I think I'm done actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's good. You know, that's it's not always more the merrier. There's a powerful lesson in here. Good reminder. Lovely section, actually.
Very beautiful. It's
Honestly,
very
I don't remember this. I don't think we've
Yeah.
actually. I don't think we've ever discussed this one.
No.
I didn't have a pick for it. So oh, okay, this is new and fresh, and that's the beauty of it. You know, the course is so big. You've got all this like seemingly fresh content. Although I've certainly read this before. Obviously, I've translated it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't remember what it said, and you know, it says these. Some of the language is beautiful. I mean,
It is.
the you know, poetic nature of it is lovely. Even though he's talking about, you know, dark forests of sightless, unlit, but by the shifting tiny gleams that spark an instant from the fireflies of sin, then go out, to lead the other to a nameless precipice and hurl him over. I mean, you could make a movie out of this. It's like a horror movie. You know, these dark, sightless eyes working through a forest, and it's all scary. Imagine if you visualized this.
Yeah.
Might actually be quite an interesting exercise. You know, you've got filmmakers to make like these little cameo scenes of the, you know, visualize what he's saying in the text, particularly because it can be quite graphically horrific, and then also poetically beautiful. You know, some of the poetry is just lovely.
Yeah.
And it brings to mind, you know, there's that some of those phrases, you know, walking under glades and like, you know, the leaves bend, the trees bend to kiss your bride. I mean, it's just this lovely, you know, imagery that really gives you a nice, warm, comforting feeling.
Yeah.
So he does both with language incredibly well, which is quite extraordinary, actually. You think like, well, I remember Sue once. You remember once asked me, so how did Jesus learn English? And I mean, I can't really answer that, Sue. I think he just downloaded it. It's just like when you're at that level, it's just like, oh, there's English. I'll just download the program, and I know it. That's all I can. That's all I could offer. So how does he write like this? You know, because he can download this, it's like AI, it can do anything. It's got all the all the capacity to write poetry. AI could write something like this if you asked it to. So it's the same kind of thing. Somehow just knows. And again, you can't really explain how it does it. Like, it's a great mystery. AI is a great mystery. It's like, yeah, okay, the people who created it will tell us that this is how it works, and there's some kind of logic to that it formulates a word, and then it goes to the next one and says, okay, so based on all the patterns that I've learned, this should be the next word, and then the next one, and so on. But yet there's a kind of like, well, there seems to be some kind of oversight intelligence that is able to do more than just go piece by piece. Surely, but it's a mystery. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows. It's like, this thing is way smarter than we ever thought it would be. And I think this is the kind of intelligence you're dealing with here with Jesus, and the presence that wrote this course is just incredibly intelligent and smart, and doesn't normal human limitations don't apply, which is quite inspiring, but also perhaps quite daunting for some. Okay, so what is this voice behind like, who wrote this? Is this even human? And the answer is not really. It's a presence that knows the human side. It knows that, but it's a presence that transcended the human and is the Christ, is the true self. So what is actually speaking to us is not Yeshua in this book. It is the Christ that has written this, which is actually our own true self. So it's really a message to ourselves from our own higher self, if you want to look at it that way, rather than Jesus as some kind of separate entity. Anyway,
Good.
those are just some.
Yeah. Okay, Jono. Thank you very much.
All right.
Nice,
Thanks for joining.
nice section.
Yeah, very good, very good. Thanks for joining. I think it was great to have more people. So hopefully see you again next week. I'll see you on Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, if that's okay. Yeah, yeah. Which you've said it is. Yeah, yeah.
Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. At
thanks
1.
for stating that, Jono. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And
Have a nice day. All right. Stay. Okay, so that is a wrap for tonight. Thank you to Elaine and John for joining. If you joined the live stream or you're watching the recording and you would like to get further involved, then a couple of things you can do. You can see in the background there on the screen, there's Life Build, which is the overall name of the business. So go to lifebuild.com and you can sign up there to receive a daily inspirational quote, blog post on that, along with the daily message, daily lesson from the Course in Miracles, as well as a what I call a breath break, which will help you to practice the lesson, and information and a Zoom link to join these live sessions. So a lot available completely free. Just go to lifebuild.com. You need a mobile phone and you need to have Telegram downloaded on that mobile phone or device. And then I will add you to the list and send you that every day. So that's one way of getting more involved. The second way is you can subscribe to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified by YouTube whenever I go live. And I'm going to be posting more of these videos, starting a podcast. So sign up to the channel, and it's another way of communicating with you and telling you what is going on, which you may want to get more involved in. I'm relaunching the whole program next year. So yeah, I'll keep you posted via these channels on that. So all it leaves me to do is say thank you for watching or listening. Appreciate your time and attention, and hope that was useful, helpful for you. And hope to connect with you on the inside of the group or one of these sessions soon. So thanks for joining, and namaste, which means the truth in me acknowledges and honors that same truth in you. Peace.